What's up, guys? It's Brian. I just want to go over a quick analogy of the tempos. Okay, I get a lot of questions about what is tempo, what are these numbers, what do they consist of, and why is it important? Okay, first of all, tempo is one of the most important things or changes that you can incorporate in your training program. Okay, a muscle knows force, it knows time, it knows tension, it knows torque. It doesn't necessarily know how much weight you're lifting. So one of the variables we can change to make the muscle continually progress and overload the muscle substantially is tempo, okay? So the amount of time that the muscle is under tension is probably the most important training variables in creating size, muscular hypertrophy, okay? So look at the tempos, make sure they're correct on every exercise because they change according to the position of flexion the exercise is trying to be maximized in. So for example, like a dumbbell fly, okay? A lot of times the tempo on a fly is going to be a little bit slower than a press, all right? A tempo on a press is more explosive usually, and the tempo on a fly, there's a lot of tension at the bottom range of motion, okay? Because that dumbbell is just exerting force straight down, okay? So as you come up to the mid-range, to the contraction position, okay, there's not a lot of tension going on, so we want to spend a little more time in that stretch position where the tension's maximized, okay? And that goes for all the exercise, and that's part of the program. So when you see the numbers associated with the exercise, there's a reason for that, okay? And like I said before, varying the tempo up is probably one of the most important aspects that you can change as far as how you get the muscle to respond, okay? Whether it's, and again, when it comes to tempo, when you talk about, when I say time under tension, the amount of reps is kind of irrelevant, okay? It's not really the repetitions that you're worrying about, it's the time that that muscle is under that amount of tension. So, for example, if you're doing a 1040 tempo, okay, and the reps happen to fall under 12, that may be 30 to 40 seconds, okay? That's kind of what I'm looking for. It's not really, hey, 12 reps is the goal. It's that amount of time that that muscle's under tension. So if it's 6 sets of 6 or 8 sets of 3 with a 1020, again, you're working specific muscle fibers in that rep range according to the tempo, all right? So again, let's go over real quick what the tempo is, okay? The first number, the way I do it, you can flip-flop this around a little bit between the eccentric and the concentric. I'll just start with the concentric. It's a little easier for me to just compartmentalize exactly what it is. So the first number is always going to be the concentric, or just think about that muscle contracting, okay? And the second number is going to be the contraction position. So if it's a bench press, it's going to be at the top range, okay? Because this is a contraction, okay? And then that number may say 1 or 0. If it says 0, just go right back down. The eccentric, which is the third number, is the money number, I like to call it, okay? That's when all the cellular action in the muscle for hypertrophy takes place, okay? So that's the number you see has a little more time, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds in that slot. So 3 to 4 seconds down is the eccentric. The last number is the stretch position, okay? And again, that number can vary depending on the exercise, but usually it's like a 0 or 1 or maybe a little more. But at that position, again, it goes right back to the start, the contraction, okay? So the 4 numbers, believe it or not, every single position in the movement, the stretch, the mid-range, the contraction, the complete contraction, the complete lowering or lengthening of the muscle under tension creates different types of activity on different muscle fibers, and these have a different effect on the type of development you're going to get, okay? So for example, concentric work is primarily based on building strength, okay? Isometric work, which is either contraction holds, or EQIs, eccentric isometric contractions, are there to develop strength at the extreme ranges of motion, okay? Because we're always going to be weaker at the extreme ranges. So either the complete stretch of the muscle, notice I say the complete stretch, okay? Complete stretch is different than what some people would think they're actually stretching the muscle under complete lengthening. But the way that you have to do that is you have to biomechanically contract certain muscles, for example. But I won't go into that any further, all right? But like I said, the contraction, the mid-range, the stretch, the full concentric, and the full eccentric has a different effect on your training. Like I said, the concentric is for usually for strength gains. So I like to think of it, you're lifting the bar up to basically lower it down. Because as you're lowering the bar, you're creating all these damages to the muscle, okay? And this is where you create more hypertrophy-based cellular activity to where you can actually accept food, accept your carbs, and your fats and your proteins Same sort of thing with the concentric. The concentric really exaggerates a lot of the GLUT4 transporters that I kind of talk about in some of our nutritional programs. So those are the movements that create the change in the muscle. Okay. When it comes to actually altering the way the body looks, these are the things that have a huge effect. Like you see these CrossFit workouts, you see these endurance type training workouts. They're fine, but they don't load the muscle specifically in specific ranges of motion at different joint angles, okay? And this is how you get to develop the muscular system of the body. Okay, guys, I hope that was good. If you got any more questions about the tempo and how we can change it, just shoot me an email.